Hello, everybody, and welcome here to the Sports Talk Network channel. Welcome here again to the tell-all. I had a part 101 tell-all that I thought was just going to be happening once. As many as I guess I could get, as many people that were part of the game that I could get to be part of it, there. I had my interview with Ross one-on-one. I had my quote-unquote interview with Marty, who's the killer, as well. And thought, hey, that was going to be it. But from the reaction from people, along with some of the other cast members sliding in my DMs and letting me know that they wanted to be part of this, and they were unable to make it for the first one. Decided to oblige, and now we're going to be having a part 2 with those that were unable, and one that was able wanted to be back again to be part of the fun at this time. Now, yet again, there were some that aren't able to make both. Maybe I'll have some one-on-ones with them. We'll see if they're each individually up to that. But here we'll do our tell-all part 2. And before we get all started, let's go down the line and introduce everybody that is here for this round of fun. And we'll start with Ross.
What's going on, guys? I'm Ross. I am the winner of the game. I talked with Steven a little bit last week and a half ago or so. And then I also talked with Michaela and the game runners on Monday. So I've probably answered a lot of the questions you may have, but I'm not sure where I've answered them. So if you have any for me, feel free. I'll answer them again. I'll make it all public. So, yeah, good to be here.
Man, good to have you. And Lizette.
Hello.
Hello, glad you were able, able to make it. Also here joining us for the first time, Caleb.
Hey, y'all. Can y'all see my camera? I don't know if I'm on there.
No, you're not on camera currently. It's just your avatar.
Okay, well, I wish I could be on camera. I'm trying to turn it on. But anyways, hey, I'm Caleb. I'm from Austin, Texas. I really enjoyed playing the game with everyone. It was really fun and super excited to be here and be a part of this tell-all.
And last but not least, the one that was here last week for the last one, Billy. William, how you doing, man?
Hey.
All right. Well, really, since Billy was here for the first one, as for all the questions I asked in regards to the gameplay and all that other stuff, I'll still ask you here for the other three. But just to share, if Billy wants to chime in or ask questions while we're going through this, that's fine. But I'm just letting him know ahead of time, going through the same questions that were asked for the first tell-all before the three not here. So let's just start off with this first question to the other three. Excuse me. As for the game heading into it, your expectations and how you think the game matched your expectations heading into it. Was it what you thought it was going to be? In essence, is what I'm asking. And also part 2 of that question being, how did you think you were going to do in this game heading into it? Did you think that you were going to make it far or otherwise? So that's 2-part questions there for you guys, or for you three. First, we'll start with Caleb.
Yeah, so at the beginning, my expectations were pretty much met. I mean, obviously, being an online version, you can't be in person and perform, all of the riddles and whatnot. But as the game went on, it became slightly different in the fact that I think most of us had problems with the way that riddles and the games were being handled. And in that sense, my expectations were not being met. And it was honestly sort of frustrating. But nevertheless, it was really fun. And part 2 of that question, I expected to perform as well as I did, and I thought I could have been a little bit better. However, I did have like a family emergency, and I told the moderators that I wouldn't be able to go on with the game. So I was a little disappointed in that matter, but nevertheless, it was still fun.
Lizette?
I kind of have the same feelings that Caleb has, but as far as how far I thought that I would get in the game, I mean, before starting the game, I had this dream of winning it. I'm sure like everyone else did, but as the game progressed, I knew that I wasn't going to make it very far, but I was very surprised as to how far I actually made it.
Ross?
Well, coming into the game, I guess I knew I was well prepared. I had no idea how well I was going to do because these games are so unpredictable. And I mean, you never know what kind of twists and turns there are going to be, but I knew that I was one of the more prepared players. At least from the start, I was a bit concerned that I didn't know enough about the rest of the cast. I may have said it before, but I was expecting this game to just be myself and a bunch of other people that have played the game before. So it was difficult in the beginning having to start getting to know all you guys and learning strengths and weaknesses and whatnot. But it was definitely a fun challenge for sure.
And for Mike there, I don't know if you heard what my question was, but you're heading into the game, you're how far you thought you could go, and all that other stuff as well.
So yeah, guys, I'm gonna apologize now for the background noise. We're at a championship game right now, but anyway, I felt really prepared when it came to the possible content of the deaths and the investigation. Of course, with my background in forensics, but how the game was going to be played, I had no clue, and many times felt lost in trying to prepare for each week's challenge. But it was a fun process still to get to participate in that, but also think on your feet. So it kind of kept it from getting stale and boring for me that way.
All right, and this next question for the three of you, in regards to the gameplay, in regards to making it longer and longer in the game, and for Ross winning it all, did your strategy change from where it was when you first started? Like for me, I was happy to be part of it, hoping to make it as far as I can. But as I got further and further until my demise, that my gameplay strategy changed. I didn't know if that was the same for you guys, or if it just stayed the same throughout. Caleb?
Yeah, so my strategy most definitely changed when starting out, and honestly, I think it changed after I want to say week 2 maybe, because my first strategy was, I had formed this group, and I did not know that I had been in with 2 veterans of the game before, and I was excited when I did learn that there were 2 veterans, but then I learned that it might not be so beneficial for me. And what happened was within our own group, there started to become some disagreements, and mainly with KB, and she was kind of ordering our group around and directing us on what to do. And obviously, you can't play the game like that. Like you have to play the game by yourself. And it was interesting to see because the strategy definitely changed from, like, we knew she was trying to give us misinformation, especially after the snake case that I won, and she directly told me that it was a different snake than it was. But she ended up being the snake, so it's fine. But anyways, we changed our strategy to get her out of the group, and yeah, that's how it changed. And I think she was surprised by that, and obviously frustrated. But it's the way the game goes.
Yeah, that's interesting and not surprising at all. I'm sure to hear in regards to KB trying to almost, like we hear being trying to be a drill sergeant, trying to be one to order people around, tell them what to do. But
do you mind if I jump in real quick? I want to say something. Not anything bad about you, Caleb, but your strategy regarding trying to get Kennedy, I thought it was looking back on it, I thought it was really, really good, because our group at that time, it was myself, Kennedy, you, and Lizette, if I'm remembering correctly. And you guys had more leverage in that group than I think you originally may have realized. Because all you had to do was switch teams and left Kennedy and I out to dry. And I think you started that process, and that was really good. I just wanted to come in and say that.
Thank you. Yeah, that was kind of our strategy. Like Lizette and I, like when we started talking, and obviously, like congrats to you, Ross, for winning the game. But yeah, we did start that process. I also want to thank Lizette for being a great team member. We started that process, and I appreciate the what you said about that, and want to congratulate you for winning, because you did have a lot of power in that game, and obviously, we were in it to win it too. So we were trying to get out of there as quick as we could.
Thanks. But yeah, you played really well. You won a handful of riddles, so I think you won like the second one, if I'm remembering correctly, or one of the early ones. So yeah, I definitely had you pegged out as a competitor right from the start. So props to you guys for how you played the game.
And since Ross, you're talking, might as well ask the question to you. I don't know if I asked you this in our interview, but still, I ask here again, in regards to your game, if your gameplay did change as you got further and further, and then making it to the end for yourself.
So yeah, I mean, the first few weeks of any Whodunnit game, I think it's more about building relationships and knowing and talking to people really than actually playing the game, because the beginning of the game, the weaker players are going to be your buffer. They're going to, as long as you're playing a decent game, like with the murders and clues and whatnot, you'll do enough to survive, and you don't have to win the riddles. But as the game gets along, the weaker people are eliminated, and you really have to start winning riddles. And it was, I think, Billy's murder. That's when like the switch really flipped. That's when Jeffrey won, I think, his first riddle, and then that was the one that sent Kennedy home. And so after that one, Gavin and I were essentially playing 7-on-2. So I had to really, really focus in order to keep living at that point in the game. So there was definitely a flip after Jeffrey won Billy's murder riddle.
Who was that?
My strategy, it was an ongoing process from when I started to when I was eventually killed off. But my plan really solidified when we were working in pairs, and it was essentially working with someone in another group. And I had to really decide what information I wanted to share with my main group and what information I wanted to keep to myself, because at that point, I was not really confident in my group still, with the exception of Caleb. But I didn't want to completely turn my back and give misinformation. So I omitted stuff that I was told, and I know that I wasn't told everything. So I was passing on even less information to the rest of my group.
Yeah, and I actually just realized that us three that were part of that triple murder are all here. Caleb was at me that week. But anyways, to Mike, same question to you. For the length that you did play, did your strategy change as the game went on?
Well, thinking on this question is actually, I remember a lot of different things. The start of the game for me, my plan for that was botched because I was driving for 3 hours when the game started. So the ability to get to know people, say hellos, was diminished greatly. Because by the time I got home, that whole time period and introductory stuff, it all ended. So everybody kind of already solidified kind of who they wanted to talk to, who they wanted to team with. So I had to kind of play on my feet in that kind of way from that week forward. But overall, as the game went on, I just looked for opportunities where I could build friendships within the game where I could kind of make deals, make plans, help out those who were looking for it, but at the same time trying to stay protected and a little bit guarded so that I couldn't be taken advantage of during that information exchange. Excuse me. But I believe it was at Billy's death, I think probably one of my most genius is not the word, but what I was proud of as a game moment was it was Sunday and everything was coming up due, and I was getting hounded with questions. And so I came up with, I was in the middle of working, trying to get ready for my school week, and I'd already been at it for about 6 hours, so I was kind of already annoyed to get pressured over and over, like, why haven't you answered? And then trying to I was getting some threats, kind of, sort of. So I spun the whole missing eyes thing and put it out there that it was the ice pick, that the phrase that I was given was, we had to pick his brain. And so that kind of threw a loop to the person who was asking me. And I think that was the week that she was actually eliminated. And so that was kind of like a spur of the moment, not even a strategized thing, but, you know, it's just, everything evolved constantly, to be totally honest with you.
All right. And it's interesting actually to hear from a couple of people here in regards to strategy, in regards to the game, and the turning point being when Billiam was eliminated. And so that's interesting that is the epicenter. That is when the game started to get real, I guess, and get more intense and high strung for others. For me, it was the whole game, but from hearing from others that Billiam's passing and Billiam's elimination was that turning point when things certainly got interesting, and I certainly noticed that for the next 2 weeks I was there, and then I was eliminated. But the next couple of weeks, and then watching it from afar all the way to the end. So very interesting that's the case. So Billiam should feel happy about that, hopefully. But in regards to you do indeed. That Corey smile.
I think
As
that
I said before, my biggest regret in the game is Kennedy dying after me. But you know what? I'm glad that it started a riot.
Well, I also think that was pretty close to halfway through the contestants at that point, or getting close to it. And so I think everybody was starting to decide, okay, where am I going to draw my lines in the sand? I knew for me it was getting the gameplay outside of just when the account was live was starting to actually get stressful. Every day I was thinking and spending hours. But, so lines, I think, are starting to be drawn there. And I know I hate it. I had to forfeit. I actually messaged the group, the runners of the game, and told them, like, my son is about to be born. I have to forfeit this week. And I gotta say, that's probably the saddest moment. As frustrated as I may have gotten with just trying to come up with everything, I think that was my lowest point. And not being able to be a part of it was really, really tough.
Yeah, it's fortunate. I know that if you didn't have to do that or were able to keep going, though, like I said, it would be very hard, and that's why you had to make the decision you made. That I thought you may have been one to be in the end. It would have been you against Ross in the end, and probably Michaela would have been eliminated a couple of weeks earlier, at least from how I was seeing things, and would have had strongest players. Michaela was a strong player too, but in regards to, and the male side, we have having you, Mike, and Ross battling it out for the win. Marty being real as killer, was already done. That would have been apropos in its own self. So, point being is, I'm saying that I had a feeling that you probably would be, or would have made it to the end if you were able to continue the game. But I understand with the circumstances that wasn't the case, obviously.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I try to reflect on things a lot, especially since my professional requires that all the time. I'm pretty sure Ross would probably agreed. I don't feel like I was much of a threat in the game necessarily, especially when it came to riddles. You know, I put in what I could, but I was always one step behind. So I don't think I would have been a threat towards the end game, but the research, the putting things together, that's I think where my strength in this game was. So I probably wouldn't have made it to the top 3, but I would have liked to have seen how far I could have gotten on just, you know, my skills alone. You know?
Oh, right, definitely. That's well, at the very least, saw you that at that point. And I did see in the chat you'd be unable to make it for Caleb's game, but maybe helping him out in a roundabout way, or however, with ideas and murders with your background, be very beneficial for him. But moving on to another question that I wanted to ask the 3 of you new ones here for the tell-all part 2. Is in regards to the game being rigged, something that we've been talking about a lot, and something that we talked now on part 1. But the 3 of you just bringing up your thoughts on it. Do you think it was? I know with the interview with Ross, saying, I'm agreeing with him that, why would that be the case? But what say you, Caleb?
Well, I don't necessarily think it was rigged, but there were a few moments where I definitely thought it was unfair. As for instance, like honestly, like that riddle, one of the riddles I won with the we had to play like a little game, and honestly, like the game wasn't a riddle, like there was no intellect involved in like solving anything. It was just you moving your mouse around or your thumb around, whichever you use, your phone or computer, to play that game. And there were a few concerns I did have about some people already knowing the game moderators. And I also did get information that, I don't know if this is true or not. Of course, this is all just rumor, but like someone said that someone lives really close to a game moderator. And I honestly, I won't expose them directly, but someone told me that they did know a game moderator, which to me is a little fishy and a little concerning. But I don't think it was necessarily rigged, but it was definitely unfair in a lot of games and a lot of rounds.
Okay, Lizette.
I don't think that it was rigged as well. I do think that the technical difficulties that we came across, I guess towards the end of the game or right in the middle of the game, made it difficult for a lot of people to participate. Caleb mentioned the game that we played where we had to like build a snake or whatever. I mean, if you couldn't get that to work on your phone or on your computer, you lost your head up in the game. You lost your little extra nudge to get you further along, and that kind of wasn't fair. However, if you did do well in that, then you probably didn't have a problem. But I mean, there were a lot of technical difficulties that made the game overall frustrating.
Yeah, I understand with the whole snake thing, because and some other people said that while we were playing it, like why is this a riddle? It's not really anything battling intellectually. And if people were happy, like you were speaking of, was that with if people were able to play on their phones or other devices and such like that. But throwing it to Ross, a question that I know I asked you in our interview, but here with the panel, your thoughts on that to reclarify, or just your responses to what Caleb and Lizette had to say.
Well, on the Slither.io thing, the snake game, that was used in previous games, and right before they announced that we were doing the game, I typed in my group chat, we're going to do Slither.io again, aren't we? And it turned out to be the game. And then I said, this is we forgot to plan a riddle, so here, go play a game for 20 minutes and we'll declare a winner. So yeah, that was objectively really, really bad on the game runner's part. But when I was talking to them on Monday, they said that they had a really hard time trying to plan riddle challenges, because a lot of it, they said, was like speed-based, trivia-based, like that kind of thing. And it was giving some of us, like the veterans, kind of an unfair advantage. And so they wanted to try and mix in like different games and puzzles to try and have a better variety and try to give everybody with different strengths an equal chance to win. But yeah, I didn't like Slither.io, probably because I'm not very good at the game. And I think Caleb, you won that week, so congratulations for that. But I guess overall, with the game being rigged, Jeffrey, you said on the last tell-all that the game runners had a lot of accountability issues. I think that's spot on. I mean, it's not a perfect game by any means. I mean, it's been a really long time since any one of these games have been played. I think they said there were 3 or 4 people running the account, and different people, like they would assign for like a generic trivia riddle or whatever, they would assign one game runner to like 3 or 4 contestants, and there would be some variability in how fast each of the runners would get back to us. So, I mean, I'm not sure how you would solve that problem, but it was definitely an issue for sure. I'm not going to deny that. I mean, it's a game. We're all humans. It's never going to be perfect. It's unfortunate how it played out in the game. Yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about that, really. I said some words on it in Steven's interview, if you want to go back and look at that. But yeah, I just don't think there was a point to rig this game. Sorry, I'm rambling a long time. On us knowing the game runners, I think Kennedy said in the previous tell-all that she lived about like 15 minutes from one of the game runners. I mean, they were best friends. I mean, in all, I don't know, honesty, that's how I knew about this game, because one of the game runners played in a game that I ran. So we kind of all knew each other. So that's how I found out about the game. The game runner created it. He probably told Kennedy, and then Kennedy told me about it. So that's how all that went down. I'm not sure how well I explained that, so I'm sorry about that.
No, I explained it actually pretty well. But in regards to that, my thoughts, yeah, I don't think it was truly rigged. It just seemed like in some of those riddles and some of other situations, and with delays as well, especially near the end, even after I wasn't playing, after I was eliminated, with the long delays. I mean, heck, whether it was planned for a holiday break or not, didn't come back until January. They didn't come back till January to finally continue the game and then finish it up here a couple weeks ago and going from there. So I always thought that was interesting in its own right. But in regards to it being rigged, no, I don't think it was really actually rigged in that way. But well, as for the questions, that's pretty much it. I do see that Jeffrey was here, so I did not say hi to you. I was just asking the same questions that I was asking in the tell-all part 1, so you already went and answered those in theirs. But right now, actually, since Ross brought it up in the beginning, if anybody has any, I guess, direct questions for him, for those that did see his interview, or even if you didn't, I guess go ahead. I mean, I know we already talked about the main thing being about the game being rigged, but if there is anything else wish to ask Ross about the other side, or other intrigue, or as other people tea spilling that you want to bring up to the table, welcome to at this time. We'll start with Caleb.
Let's see. Well, at first, I just want to make a comment about the game moderator thing again. I don't want to say that I don't want to discredit anyone's efforts or their victories, but like during the game when we learned this information, it was, I mean, obviously you have to look at it from an objective standpoint. Like, it did look fishy, like because if you know the moderators, you could be, talking with them every week, which obviously I don't believe was the case. But I think everyone did have that suspicion that there was, some funny business going on. Yeah. So, and then as far as other questions for anyone else, I do have a question for Jeffrey. I was going to ask, how did it feel to rise from the ashes after KB had a target on your back, because I know within my group, she was always like, we are killing McNuggets now. And I was like, oh, dang, okay. But obviously you performed really well, and you rose from the ashes and you made a great comeback and played the game really well. So I would just like to hear your thoughts on that.
First off, thank you for your comments about performing well. So my issue with the game at first, which is why I kind of had that downfall originally, was I'm from the East Coast and I was visiting LA at the time. So my time clock was like 3 hours behind what I was normally at. And that was kind of when the game was like starting off. And so I didn't know what the timing was for anything, because I'm used to like East Coast time and then I'm on, West Coast time. So I didn't know what was going on at any point pretty much. And I was also like on vacation. So I wasn't focused on, the game starting right away. So I didn't really make any connections with anyone right off the bat. And so the first person that gravitated toward me was Kennedy. And obviously that wasn't a good thing. But surviving that first week, I don't know how it happened at all. I guess I must have just barely beat Tanner with my case. But coming back, I luckily, Billy reached out to me and pulled me into another group, thank God, because if he hadn't sent me that lifeline, like I probably would have been gone the next week, because Kennedy did have it out for me. But after Billy sent me that lifeline, I made it my goal to like really come back, because I wanted to show that I was better than, just getting kicked off week 1 or week 2. So yeah, it felt really good. And then the best part of that, the reward at the end, was just getting to eliminate Kennedy and getting to be the reason she left. So that's it.
So Ice Pick?
Thank you for that response.
Go ahead, Billy. You're going to say something?
I just made a comment. I was just like, so Ice Pick?
No. Was that?
I don't necessarily have any questions or anything, but um I was curious about, there were mentions of lifelines. Like, what was everyone's I don't really know, like, strategy? Did you have that one person that you were going to stick with the entire game no matter what, or did you sort of shift your alliances as the game progressed? Because I know for personal experience, I kind of I stuck with Caleb, and before that it was who else did I stick with? It was Caleb and Aaron and Tori, who I stuck with a lot. But what about everyone else?
Well, I can chime in on this one. I know for me, I had a particular group that I was extremely loyal to, my little group of 3. And there wasn't anything that I was. I had one instance where I felt terrible for not giving all the information, and I came out and they gave me a shot to prove myself again, and I was thankful for that, because this group of 3 was the one that I didn't want to alienate. No matter what was going on in the game, these were the ones that I knew had my back. So as the game progressed and reaching out to different people, I still had that home base.
All right. Anybody else want to chime in to answer that?
I'll chime in. Because I've already kind of alluded to this in the first tell out. So I kind of stuck with multiple people, but Steven now knows this, and I feel kind of awful. Mike doesn't. I, throughout the entire game, had a final 2 with Michaela. We were talking every day. We kind of threw Marty in there. But on top of that, I also had Mike and Steven. And then I also had Jeffrey too, but I'd have to say the people that I personally was gonna stick with to the end was my group with Michaela, because first of all, me and her both live in Massachusetts, so it was just easy for me to kind of connect with her. And worst comes to worst, if like one of us didn't have time to work on the case or something like that, one of us could easily jump a half-hour train ride to the other person. But not only that, and then Marty kind of joined the group because she messaged Michaela, and we felt like the more the numbers, the better. But like I said, like I also had Steven and Mike, but I was more loyal to the other group, and I'm sorry, Mike.
Well, I'm just glad to know now, because I was like, I have this feeling, but I have no proof. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess for me to answer quickly here and then go to Caleb and Ross to answer that question. But for me, the ones that I wanted to make it to the end were Billiam and Mike, us making it there, the three amigos, as I called us, and whatever. And that is where I wanted things to go. And for us to make it, maybe bringing Michaela along, but mainly us three, and making it to Final Four with the killer. And then battling it out and see who's the best and win then. But yeah, I was kind of surprised myself when I heard William say that in the first tell-all, as he saw by my reactions, my nonverbal reactions, when he was saying that. But hey, he's being honest, and I'm just being honest as well, because that's where my allegiance lies. I never wanted to, or never planned to turn on any of them. Never, misinformation. I mean, if at all that was going to happen for me, is when we got to near the final or whatever, maybe give less information then for myself, to have more for myself, but not till then. Really have that core team, like a brotherhood, and making it that far. But anyways, throw it to Caleb and your answer to Lizette's question.
Yeah, so my person was definitely Lizette. Just because all that we had been through in our group, and we had the same mindset, and I think our strategy stayed the same, in that we knew that in order to survive, we were going to have to team up together and reach out to other groups to get ins in those groups. And the way that we were going to do that, for me, is Michaela also obviously wanted some people in our group dead. So she offered to team up with me. So that was my in to all the information on the other side. And obviously, I think we could have gone farther if circumstances hadn't arisen. But I think it was evident that when we started picking off group members of our own one by one, we weren't trusted anymore. I mean, Ross knew right from the start when we got Kennedy out. He was like, I knew y'all did this to Kennedy. Like, if y'all want to be trusted, then like I'm gonna demand that you show me all of your cases. So obviously, like he knew that was going on. But yeah, my person was Lizette, and no matter what information I was told from anyone else, I was going to tell her all the information that I got.
Ross?
So, I mean, yeah, I'm sure we've hinted at bits and pieces of everything, but I guess I'll just spell it all out if it hasn't been already. So, from the start, my group's plan was that the final five was going to be myself, Kennedy, Gavin, Lindsay, and then the killer. Obviously, that did not happen from the start because Lindsay was killed off. She told me that on her application, she marked she didn't mind dying first, but that she didn't actually think it was going to happen. So that threw a wrench in our plan before the game even started, really. And then Kennedy and I reached out to Caleb, Lizette, Aaron, and Tori to form a group. And then Gavin went his separate way. I'm still not sure who he messaged and who he was talking to, but he was getting information from other people, and that's how we were able to know which information was where. So yeah, that's how the game at least started out. And then, as Caleb said, people from within our team started dying. More divisions in the group, and then it eventually fell apart. After Billy's death, and that's, I mean, like you said, that was when the game, like the group split. It was lines in the sand, all that good stuff. That's when it got real.
Oh, and Jeffrey, I don't think you answered yet. Excuse me, Jeffrey, your answer to Lizette's question.
So first off, I want to say about Erin. Erin was playing both sides because she was in both of our groups, and I knew that was going on because Ross, at one point, you were only following people who you were working with on Twitter, and Erin was one of the people you were following, and she was also in our large group. So
can I comment on that real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
We knew about Erin playing both sides within our own group when she won her riddle. If you remember, I mean, Michaela and I talked about this when we were talking. Erin requested anonymity when she won the riddle so that nobody would know that she won it. And she told our group, she gave our group the information, but then I think your team kind of got it out of her that she won the riddle, and then I think that's eventually what led to her downfall. But continue. Sorry for jumping in.
I'm gonna comment on that too. My group, so the original group for me was Michaela, Marty, Erin, and that's kind of how we got it out of her because our group kept sitting there going, she's hiding something. We knew she was hiding something. We knew she was lying the entire time. Eventually we managed to get it out of her because of the fact that we knew she was lying something, and she wanted to keep that trust between us. We did not know she was still just us group and said that you got her out. But we also knew that she was the anonymous riddle as well, and I kept that. I thought I kept it secret, but I did kind of hint to different people what the answer was, so I knew my group could stay alive.
Okay, back to me. To actually answer the question, there were a couple people that I wanted to work with right off the bat, but like I said before, I was in LA, so it was hard for me to build any connections with anyone. Like, I would have loved to work with Caleb. Like, Caleb was really powerful at like riddles and things like that. I saw him as a really strong player. Even Lizette, I wanted to work with at one point, but it was hard to tell what was going on with the other side of the house, and if you guys were this huge big team that was actually strong and working together, or if there were divides and you could have broken off and worked with people. At one point I did message Lizette and try to see if we could kind of like share information with each other. This was towards the end, to see if like she could kind of trust me and I could kind of trust her, and it kind of wasn't clear and it was hard to tell. So I didn't fully share all of the information that I had with her. I shared, I think, like a little piece of it. But I did want to work with Lizette at that point. This was towards like right around when Lizette died. Or it might have been right before. But besides that, I didn't really have like a final 2 or final 3 until after, I guess, Billy died. And that's when I started working with Michaela and Marty. Like, I replaced Billy in that group, I guess, kind of. I knew I wasn't the final 2 or anything with them because they were going to be each other's final 2. But I also knew that Billy was working with Steven and Mike, and they thought they had a final 3. And I also knew that Billy was working with Michaela and Marty. And I also knew like that, Steven was talking to other few people. I knew everyone was being shady and had all these little subgroups. So I knew that the only person I could fully trust was myself. So I just kind of tried to play the game and not act like I knew any of that and just kind of go with things. Yeah, but I was honest and loyal the whole time to everyone. I don't think I ever lied to anyone. I think I just didn't share the full truth, like maybe twice.
Yeah, I agree with Jeffrey on that. Like, obviously, I would have liked to work with the other side too, like Jeffrey and everyone else. But I don't know if y'all know this, but after like our group pretty much dissolved, with like me, Lizette, Ross, and everyone else, like I started panicking because I was like, well, like I have no information outlets and like I need this to be happening. But at that point in the game, it is so hard to like find someone who will be loyal. Just like Jeffrey was mentioning, like everyone starts being so shady because you have to be like you have to form these little subgroups to get the full info. And like I think that's what everyone was doing is they never lied, but we never shared the full info. And I think that's what makes the game so interesting and very hard to navigate.
I think that's what it makes it interesting in the fact of it, whether in general, but in specific with the game, for us being on Twitter, being on social media, than actually being in a house, actually being the TV show without that aspect of it to really know any versions of teams, of interactions, of people, of what they're saying. Right? You can't tell tone, tone of voice when someone's sending a tweet or a DM. Right? You can think you know, but you don't. You don't know if they're telling you fully truth and or if they're just lying straight to your face. So that aspect of it, and I know a couple of people brought that up to me during the game about if the person was lying or not to us. But in regards for me, yeah, that was part of it, and that was more knowing that I had to speak with others, whether on the other side or in general, from my main three that I had in regards to that. I know I was speaking with Gavin and the Reverend as well. So there was that for me. I for a very short time also even spoke with KB, which might have been a mistake in the end, but was what it was. But just things that you had to do to try to keep yourself to stay as far and as long as you can, because as much as you believe in yourself, as much as you think in your own or believe in your own abilities to be able to solve things and make it far, you do need others, otherwise you won't have a full story to even try to state a case, right? That's a part of the game. So, and that aspect, and that's thinking of it for me. That's where I was, and even myself, as kind of as I am, went outside my team, outside my group, my familia, to having to get extra information that I may need if us, obviously if we don't get in the riddle or don't go in there. So that, at least for me, as much as it kind of hurt doing that, I knew I kind of had to do it in that aspect of it. But I guess my question, this one specifically to, excuse me, sorry about that, to Caleb and Lizette, because I asked this to everybody else previously, individually, in the last tell and otherwise, your thoughts, kind of a personal question from me, your thoughts on my gameplay, as a competitor, blah, 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 that sort of stuff. Just ask that question to you both. We'll start with Caleb.
Sorry, y'all, my connection is being spotty.
Did you hear my question?
No, what was the question?
Oh, sorry. No, it was just a personal question asking what you thought of me as a player, my gameplay, and all that such like that.
Oh yeah. Okay, so you were very cunning in the fact that at midpoint in the game when we started talking about teaming up, I never knew. I couldn't tell if you were being honest or not, and we had this discussion because I like at that point in the game you just don't know who you can trust. And I thought you were very smart in the fact that you played the game as wanting to be willing to team up with everyone. And I think that draws a target off your back in a sense, because when you play the game like that, then everyone is saying, okay, well, like he can be trusted. And I thought that was a very smart move because not most people do that, because everyone is forming these groups and has these people who they know they don't want to team up with, but you were willing to do it with everyone and no one was suspicious.
Yeah, that's easier said than done. Anyways, Lizette.
I kind of think the same way that Caleb does. It's just by the time I think you reached out to me, um, I was already so firmly into my main group that, and they kind of had my ear about who to trust and who not to trust, that it made it hard for me to really think, okay, do I want to take the risk and trust you? Or is there some truth to what my main group is saying as far as who everyone is working for? But I saw continually your how you played the game and how you did reach out to other people, that you weren't you didn't really have anything nefarious that you were trying to like hide. You were very open with what you were doing and what your motive was for why you were reaching out.
Yeah, I always try to be truthful to every person that I spoke with about what they asked. It's one of those things. If you don't ask the question, you have to get an answer, right? So that's one thing I learned, especially in the beginning of the game, to not overshare so much. That's just how I am a personality. I'm an open book, easy and only. But anyways, I just wanted to ask that personal question specifically there to you too. But to everybody in regards to the game, just a simple question here. For the next game that's going to be run by Gavin. It's going to be starting here, I believe, in March. Let's just go down the road. Who is planning to or hope to be part of the game? I know some already spoke on it, but just here in this group and forum. We'll start with Caleb.
Yeah, so I hope to play the game. If I do play, I hope it is obviously run better than the last one. And I also hope, and I think everyone will agree with me on this, but I hope that the game is shorter in length than this one was. I mean, obviously, like I forgot when we started, but like we've been playing this for like, I want to say like half a year, like it's been a long time. And I think the game should go a little quicker than that, just because everyone has busy lives. We have stuff going on. Mike had a baby, so stuff happens. So we gotta get through it. But I think it could be really fun and prove to be a really interesting game, especially if a lot of people from this game play again. I think it would be really interesting to see like a rematch of everyone, and if we'll have the same groups or not. It would be really, really fun.
Yeah, just to chime in there before moving on to the next person. Yeah, that would be interesting if most of the cast for the next game is of us of this season. Um, for most of us being sophomores, our second run of doing the game, and would we be in the same group, especially with all the information, or as people call it, tea being spilled, hearing these tell-alls of alliances and this and that, and how they played, and now knowing that of each other, heading into the next game, would the alliances change, new teams, or someone not liking what they heard in a tell-all or something about somebody, and not trusting them in the next game, blah blah blah. But for me, I want to see some rookies myself now that I'm going to be no longer that. Seeing some fresh blood, fresh meat, and seeing how their gameplay would be heading into this new game, because my strategy is a little different. My thinking and the way to play the game, after talking with Ross in our interview after the first tell-all somewhat, and here today, this morning, kind of changing the way that of maybe how I wanted to play. Now, I did say, my favorite castmate from the season one, the only season of the actual show, was Lindsay, and how Lindsay played the game and how she made it to the end. And I was hoping to make it to the end playing in almost the same way, in a way, without making the mistakes she did, to make it to the end and play like her. So that's why I was actually happy that week, that the Whodunnit week, that I was Lindsay. So that was kind of cool in its own right for me personally. But anyways, moving right along. To Lizette, do you have any plans to play the next game?
I think I'll have to go back and look at the message for that. But I thought about it. It's something that would probably be of interest to me. I mean, I have um other obligations that have come up, but I'm better able to balance those obligations and possibly play a game as well. I just have to go back and look at the information for that before I make my decision. And I have to do it soon since it's going to be starting up soon. But it's something that I I would think more about doing.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's the end of the month, the 31st is the due date for application for Gavin's game. Um, Jeffrey.
Um, I would have to see how I'm feeling when that time comes around. I'm still pretty exhausted from this game. Like Caleb said, it was so long, especially with the 2 breaks they took in there that were like a month each. So I'd have to see how I'm feeling. If I did do the game again, I would like to see the format change just to keep it, kind of fresh and exciting. Maybe see it be like a vets versus rookies game, or see it be like a pairs game where people work in pairs of 2 or something. Just to like keep it exciting and new, just because it would feel like the same thing again. I feel like, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that kind of like how Survivor is done with teams and matchups. Though with that show, I like to start now. It's kind of getting old. But anyways, to Mike, I don't know if you already answered, but any interest in if even working to be part of the next game, Mike.
Hey guys, yeah, sorry about that. So unfortunately, I will not be putting in an application for the next game as much as I want to. There's just so much going on with the school year around that time, as well as taking care of the little guy and a couple of other projects that I'm doing that I won't be putting in an application. But I'm gonna be hoping to be available to help out people with information if they want to. They can definitely reach out to me if they want me to like see about maybe putting things together for them. Like I would love to help out, especially the crew from this year's game. I would really look forward to that actually.
All right, and last but certainly not least, Ross.
So, kind of what Jeffrey was saying, I want to piggyback off that about the game kind of getting repetitive and a bit stale. I can definitely attest to that because this game, I mean, all games have their different like murders and riddles and twists and whatnot, but it's the same kind of bread and butter. Here are the locations. Here's the riddle. Send your case in by Sunday. Rinse and repeat 10 more times. There has to be something like different about the game, whether it be like riddle formats, or what I was thinking is doing something different with locations. Like obviously you should still have the basic information that you get out of it, but toward the middle of this game, at least in my group, I felt it was like we would meet up or like say, hey, I'm here for location day in our group chat. We would get the location and then we would kind of go our separate ways. Like there would be like little communication. It would be like, all right, we're here. Let's just get this over with. There needs to be something different with locations, I think. I tried to do something different in one of my games that I ran, and it was a total failure, which was giving certain people like their own like little nugget of information. Like for example, in Don's murder in the real show, when Ronnie found the rig in the stovetop, he only had that information and nobody else in the crime scene group did. Like something like that. I have no idea how it would work because the way I did it, I just randomly chose somebody, and that's obviously not a skill. It's not skill based. Like it's whoever shows up in the random list generator. So there's something has to be done with locations. I'm not sure what it is yet, but I think that's one way to keep this game kind of evolving and keep it like spiced up. I don't know what the right word is, but increase the variability in the game.
Right, and making it a true roller coaster. I know with Gavin was on with the first tell-all, he was talking about with his new game how it's going to be different, and about how it won't sting as much when you get killed off. Because I was playing my video from my reaction to it. But anyways, yeah. So I think at least in regards to Gavin's game, things are going to be different. Probably still be played on Twitter, but just different in the way that the things are and the twists and the turns. And I think he's even calling it Whodunnit Double Vision. So it's going to hopefully be a different kind of spin. But I'll throw this to Billiam. I'll give his thoughts if he plans to be part of the fun again.
As I said in the last tell, I'm very on the fence, and I'm still on the fence. Mostly, I mean, he's kind of cleared up a lot of things, like with the unfairness, how we were talking about the game runners not doing a good job in making it somewhat fair and stuff like that. But as I said, I do have, like everybody else, have a life. I'm in a show right now, and I know I'm going to get 10 times as busy as I normally am. I'm still playing the field, kind of weighing both options, and I should decide within the next couple of days. It's just it's a matter of, can I do it? Is the matter, and like, will it be stressful?
Understandable. I mean, for myself, working 2 jobs and being busy, and other things going on in my YouTube channels and aspirations in broadcasting and looking into school. And if I do that, then I'll be going to school in September. Game probably will be going into September, of course, maybe going that long, depending on how long Gavin plans to have it. So for myself, even though I applied, right away when it was posted, still going to be interesting to see how I maneuver it when we get to that month, when we get later on in the game, if I do continue my own aspirations for myself in life and where I want to go and where I want to be in regards to sports broadcasting. And that sort of realm. But one last, and specifically again, if I can speak, first a question to Caleb, Lizette, and to Mike. As I asked before about what you thought of me as a game player. Excuse me. Trying to think about it again. But Oh no. Did you guys have any questions specifically for me that you want to ask? Anything on your mind? Because I still am wondering who the heck was that one person that pinned me as the killer in week 1. That wasn't answered in the first tell-all, though Gavin said he might have been. But the main question being if you have any specific questions for the host, since I've been asking everybody else questions.
Yeah, actually, I've got 2 questions. One for a small group, one for the whole group. So first off, I just want to ask. Now, I didn't know that we had given the names. So, Billy and Steven, you guys know that I shared all my case information with you guys. I just want to know, did y'all share a lot of that with your outside groups?
I shared with Michaela. I did. Everything that was told to me from everybody, I told Michaela. I wanted her to get far with me. And if I didn't get far with her, then I don't know what I would do. And granted, I didn't get far in myself. But like, if I did get far and it wasn't like she wasn't in the game anymore, I don't know what I would have done, because of the fact that like me and her were constantly messaging. We were Skyping a couple of times, especially the first week when Kennedy decided that she wanted to kill McNuggets, or Jeffrey, I should say. In order, because like I literally at that point when that whole blow up happened, got very, very scared, and I didn't know who to trust. And Michaela literally was like, "You call me on Skype. Like we will have this conversation, and I will see." And that's how me and her and Marty did most of our talking. Any information that we didn't want shared with anybody else, we Skyped each other, or we sent it through a Snapchat message, so it would immediately be deleted, and there was no way that it could get back to anybody. But yes, I shared everything with Michaela.
No, and that's cool. Now that the game is over, like it totally makes sense, because I did put a lot of like trust out there, and using Google Docs, you guys could see my stuff as I typed it. So anyway, I kind of had a feeling that there was stuff getting out, but it's that's the game, man. That's the game.
Right. Well, as for me, in regards for my part, you know, of the group, for me it was really Half-Troops in regards to Gavin and Reverend and the Reverend and John, Gavin and John, if I remember his name, Gavin and John Half-Troops to them. Though as I actually made it longer and longer and built a friendship or believed to be friendship relationship with Gavin, I shared a little bit more with him and still less with John. And then John was killed off earlier. So whatever to that point, and then continuing on. But overall, never malintent in regards to sharing big things or let's just say secretive things that Mike shared with us in regards to our group in that aspect of it. Because I, and my own side, wanted to garner trust with both of them because I felt I wanted us three to be truly in the end. So that's kind of where I went in sharing information outside of the three, and let alone outside of our rookie group in itself, that big group. So there was us in the three, then the big group over here, and then me here, doing what I needed to do, playing to survive and continue on and go as far as I could. Mike, did you say you had a second question, or is that your only question?
Yeah, no, I did have a second question, kind of more for everybody. So, as the game progressed, I saw my name as the killer become more and more frequent. I just kind of want to hear people's like, what was the clue or what was going on that started to make y'all feel that way? I'm just curious for my own sake, to be totally honest.
All right, anybody that wants to could chime in.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie about this, but from the start, I'm looking at my notes that I had. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At least 6 different times, Mike, I had you as the killer. And that was mainly because of what was on your profile that you had, I believe it was forensic science. And I'm like, okay, that's gonna really like put you ahead of things, that you're going to be able to see things from a different perspective as someone who doesn't have that background. So um that I had you that for 6 different cases that you were the killer.
Wow, for 6, that's cool.
Yeah.
This is funny. I hated being chosen as the killer, but at the same time, it was kind of funny at the same, to see happen week to week.
So I didn't put this together until it was probably the week I died. My case on the week I died, I said you, and it was for the same reason. You kept talking about you have science background, you know this and you know this. Like whenever there was poison, you knew like what poisons were, you know. And Jeffrey actually kind of pointed it out to me during the game, and because I for some reason didn't click in my head because of how Chris in the actual TV show had background in police work because of her father. Her father was a cop, so like constantly she kept saying, "I know this gun. I know this gun was used. She knew how to unlock the door to get into one of the whereabouts when Dana and Sasha were murdered." Um, so, but again, it didn't click on me, and obviously that was probably my downfall because I died that same case.
Caleb?
Personally, I can't attest to this because from week one, my strategy was to pick one person and peg them as the killer and keep writing them as the killer in my case until they got pegged off. And lo and behold, I picked Marty as the killer and I stuck with her, and that's probably why I won a few different cases. Was because I pegged her correctly as the killer. But yeah, I can attest to that. I never really. I mean, I did suspect you for a little bit, but like I had to stick to my strategy and pick Marty all the way out.
Jeffrey?
I voted you 3 different weeks as the killer. It started, I think, when we put together, the science thing with you having a science background. And then just like you not being available sometimes, I guess was part of it. Thinking maybe like, you were busy. Like obviously you're a teacher, but maybe you were busy with, the case stuff and everything. And then I also knew you had that like separate little 3-person alliance. So I kind of like, I don't know, I thought you were a little shady too, even though I trusted you in our main group. So I don't know, I put you for 3 weeks and then my thing changed to Michaela after that.
Last but not least, Ross.
So, Mike, I don't believe I ever pegged you as the killer once. I'm going through my cases right now. I don't think I ever said your name. I did Michaela in the beginning just as a complete guess, and then I switched to Marty and then to Gavin as the game progressed. I don't know if you all told or heard Gavin's story about him faking me and Kennedy out as the killer. I can retell it kind of if you all didn't hear it, but that Gavin was who I guessed for a majority of the game.
And I won't lie, I started choosing Gavin because it felt like he kept choosing me every week. So it was kind of like oh, you're going to blame me, so I'm going to blame you kind of thing.
Yeah, for me, I was all over the board. 1 week, one way. I mean, I know for week number 1, I went with Tanner. Tanner was my guess, just because he was. I was talking really with anybody. He didn't follow me. He ended up blocking me for whatever reason. But not interacting with him, which kind of sucked because he seemed cool and he's from the same state. We're both from Wisconsin. And it would have been cool whether we were team members or not, to speak with him and gameplay and whatever. But that never happened in regards to Tanner. And then as each week went, I just went by how I felt with each week's case. So I never really was having a strategy like Caleb's of sticking with one person until they're eliminated, or any kind of actual true plan. It was case by case, or what I felt would help me to try to get best case, or help me do this. Just as much as when I did my videos, I wore this. I wore a suit. I was dressed up. I tried to give the game that respect by playing it like it was with TV, and how they were dressed up with when they were giving out their case study and everything. Dressed to 9. So that's what I did also. So the little things that I tried to do to help with my case, and help with my presentation of the case, since I think I was the only one that did video with cases. Case study that I wanted to do that, and so I dressed up and did have different people for different times. So there were times I forgot to put in who I actually picked. The game runners had to send me a message after they saw my video and asked me, "Okay, who do you have for the killer this week?" And I'm sorry, I forgot to put it in my final case, their stated case. But anyways, for me, I was all over the board. Never really stuck to one person for multiple weeks. I mean, maybe for the most was KB for 3 weeks. But beyond that, it was very, very sporadic in that way for me in that regard. Excuse me. But still, moving down the line, or moving over to, I really will stop there. That pretty much is it for questions that I have, or things I want to bring up. If there's anything else that anybody else wants to bring up that hasn't been brought up already, because I know there's some things I think people wanted to share if they haven't already. So whoever wants to bring up a topic, or bring up a subject, or bring up a question, speak now, or forever hold your peace. And that goes out to anybody. So anyone wants to say anything, welcome to. I don't need to call on you. But if not, then I guess we'll wrap this up and let people have their final thoughts and share the things they wish to share. And what we're going to do, we'll start with Ross, your final thoughts.
I just wanted to say thanks to Steven for hosting this again. It was definitely fun getting to talk with you guys and kind of see the ins and outs of what was behind the curtains of our different teams. I know this game was not the smoothest game by any means, but I hope you all will continue to at least stay connected in some form with these games. They're a lot of fun to do, and I don't want to see the community dying out anytime soon, no matter no matter how small it may be. So yeah, thanks everyone for playing. It's great getting to know you all.
Mike.
Well, I want to say thank you to Steven as well for allowing this opportunity for all of us game members to kind of get together and speak in a relaxed way and kind of get to know each other. It's been great to actually hear from Ross, to hear from Lizette, Caleb, Gavin on the previous video. When you're looking at a Twitter screen, you don't get a sense of the person. And now that I've heard your voices, heard your thoughts, like, I feel like I have a whole new group of friends who has a good shared experience. And I just want to thank you to everybody who played and for doing their best and making this a really interesting game to experience for me, a first-time player. So thank you to everybody.
What's that?
Yeah, thank you, Stephen, for hosting this a second time. I sort of wish I was able to have participated the first time around, but hearing the answers to these questions that were asked, it's real eye-opening about how people played the game and what was sort of going on behind the scenes of our individual groups and how we played the game. But this was fun, and like Ross said, I hope that we're able to continue being interested in who done it and that it doesn't die out.
Jeffrey.
I really enjoyed playing. I'm upset that it's over. I'm happy that it's over because it was so long, but I'm upset just because, we don't get to talk anymore. And I feel like we're all going to go our separate ways, so that's sad. But I really enjoyed getting to know different people, especially because we're all around, different parts of the United States. I don't really dislike anyone after the end of the game, except for like 2 people, and neither of them are actually here. Surprise, Ross isn't one of them. But I really only dislike 2 people, and they're not here. So don't worry about it. I liked you all. I really enjoyed playing with you all. If you guys have any questions for me about any of the gameplay or anything later that you want to ask, I'm pretty open and honest. You can DM me. Thanks for hosting this again, Steven. It was great.
You're welcome. Caleb.
Yeah, thank you so much, Stephen, for hosting this. This is such like an awesome and unique opportunity that we get to talk with a bunch of different people who love the Whodunnit game. And obviously, I wish that there were more seasons of the actual show. But unfortunately, for whatever reason, they decided to cancel that. But if they ever have a real audition cast, we'll all be applying. So we'll hope to see all y'all there. But yeah, this has been a really fun game. All the aspects of the game made it so fun, like the friendships, the groups, even the savagery was just outstanding. But yeah, I'm really thankful for this opportunity, and I'll keep following y'all on Twitter and talking to y'all. So thanks again.
And last but certainly not least, William.
So first of all, because my internet has been kind of spotty, I did want to bring up something. Just so everyone knows, I want to clarify this because I did look it up. The caterpillar that was used in Aaron's death takes 24 hours to work, and there is blood clots. Just saying. I've been like thinking about that this entire time, and I just wanted to bring that out there. So that case was kind of weird. But anyways, yeah.
Or the one with the or that one with the Iron Maiden.
Caterpillar.
Oh, and I nailed that Iron Maiden so hard.
I knew I should have had it in there. I knew it, and then
I stressed it. No, because they didn't include that. I was thinking about that case the entire time, and like I was thinking about it the entire time, and then I just realized that I wanted to mention it. It does take 24 hours, and there is blood clots. I'm very glad I got to know all of you. Was saying I had worked with more in the game. even though I had like my solid 3, I really wish I worked a little more with a couple other people and to kind of because like my strategy was be nice to everybody as long as I can, because you never know when you're gonna need information. As Jeffrey said, there was maybe only one person I seriously dislike, and that's because of the gameplay. I mean, I don't know this person through a hole in the wall because I've never really interacted with them. Gameplay wise, I felt weird, but and I do hope to keep in touch with all you guys. Big Brother, and you get to watch me on TV, but doing this again, I could, and wish we had more people that could do it. Because I would have been able to be able to talk to everybody in the group.
Yeah, I agree. But it still was great to have the people that we did here for this tell-all in regards to I want to have this platform, whether it was just going to be one tell-all and have everybody or a good amount of them, then let alone now doing 2 tell-alls, because again, after the first one, there were some people that did want to be part of this one that weren't able to be part of the last one, to include Mike, Caleb, and Zach that actually are here. But I think also Aaron was trying to show interest as well, and I'm glad Ross was able to be here too. Point is that I wanted to have this forum for people to be able to talk, because I see it in Big Brother, I see it in those shows, Bachelor, Bachelorette, whatever. They have to tell all the same night as the finale, because of course finale is taped and you have to tell all live, sort of thing. So I wanted to have this forum, have something different and unique. And since I am a YouTuber, I'm used to being on camera, have a tell all, host it, let people share their thoughts, spill tears, I guess it's called. Share whatever they want to share in regards to the game, and have this platform for them to do so.
It was great, having to be everybody.
Yeah.
Sorry, Billiam. I think you're breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, you're cutting in and out. Yeah, because I didn't hear anything Billiam was saying there. But anyways, as I was saying, I wanted to have this tell so people could be able to share their thoughts. And for me, really, also is to kind of get to know them a little bit more in hearing their voices, kind of like what Mike was saying, and get to know them more, and maybe how my gameplay would have been different if we actually did meet in person. If this game actually was like TV Whodunnit, where you kind of get to know the personalities a little bit more, so you could tell maybe more if they're lying or not. Still doesn't mean you would, but just have a better understanding on that aspect of it. Also, just get to know them through the game from the start, like if it was a video formatted. Like I guess sometimes they could play the game on Skype, but through the Twitter way, it was a little harder to really, because you don't know them personally at all. You don't know their personality and know how they are. But here, having this tell-all, I think, helped me in that regard if I do play them again, against them, with them, whatever, in the next game, depending if they play. So, and like William, I did myself put my application in regards to Big Brother, and we'll see how it goes for the next season. I am immersed in watching with this season already in the beginning with the celebrity edition Big Brother. So looking forward to seeing how that goes. Definitely hope to make it, but if not, definitely hope for Billiam and Billiam to make it and be on the cast and see him kick some ass in there if he is part of the next cast. But anyways, I think everybody that is part of this part 2, I think everybody, again, for those that were part 1, I think those watching live, those that will be watching when this video is posted to the channel, it should be 30 minutes after I stop the broadcast. Welcome to like the video, share it with anyone. I don't care. And let them know about this channel, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, know when I go live with the next video. You can find me on Snapchat and Instagram as TBK_06. And you can find me on Twitter at Army_strong_06. But overall, this was fun. Glad to have people here. And that should be about do it. So enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy your day. And above all else, as always, take care.
See you later.